Good morning and welcome to the new episode of Dr.Lamba's Awakening Call. It's 11 months almost that the Ukraine-Russia war started. The fear of the nuclear holocaust is always there. COVID-19 came and terrified people, and this war, with its attendant horrors of feared nuclear explosions, is sending shivers down the spine of the people all over the world. Already it has resulted in hyperinflation everywhere. For the Europe, it has been a very, very severe winter shivering. Luckily, the climate change enabled Europe to face it. And any hope of New Year thaw in the Ukraine conflict was blown away when Ukraine offensive in the Russian-occupied region, the offer of the Russia for a ceasefire for 36 hours was rejected by Ukraine. Of course, Russia has started conducting nighttime airstrikes against Ukrainian cities and civilian infrastructure. So the world wonders whether the continuing war will deliver fresh economic shock. IMF has already said that there is going to be recession around the corner. Would the economy all over the world suffer or recover from the issues that faced us last year, especially COVID and the lockdowns and so on? And millions of the people across the countries have seen prices go up. The real incomes have fallen, and the gap between the real income and the salaries or income received, the prices of the energy and the food becoming beyond the reach of the marginal people, bank credits getting more expensive, has created a sense of fear and panic in the people. And Russia is suffering too. Every day is a day of fear. But there are two sections of society which are very happy. Of course, one is the politicians. For all their pious talk of the peace and the love and universal affection, they are happy. And why they are happy? Because the second group is happy, which is the global manufacturers of the arms and ammunition. It's a heyday for them. They are lucky that their products are being used. Whatever the result might be, they are gaining. And I was amazed to think that in COVID-19, the only people who gained were the manufacturers of pharmaceutical vaccines. So much so that the Glaxo suspended all operations except the manufacture of the vaccine. And now, since the beginning of the conflict last February, defense companies have seen the stocks shoot up. Why? Because the Western countries, especially in Europe and America, are rushing military aid worth billions and billions of dollars. And many of these weapons come from the reserve stockpiles of the Western countries. So when those reserves are depleted, they have to be replenished. And hence the benefit to the arms manufacturers. And let's not forget that the politicians in power are hand in glove with the manufacturers, whether they be pharmaceuticals or whether they be the arms. Because Government can always tighten the screws on the manufacturers so they keep these people happy. Now, the depletion of the reserves of the arms has led to the fresh contracts with the arms manufacturers. And while the Europe has upped the contribution in recent months, they have increased it undeniably. But till today, and even now, USA remains the largest individual contributor towards weaponry supply to Ukraine. The commitment of $18.5 billion in November, another few $1 billion in December to Ukraine by USA is astounding. The Patriot missiles which are being sent, the tanks which are being sent, the armed vehicles which are being sent, apart from the missiles and everything, including the Patriot air defense system, which is very expensive. USA is very bountiful in giving this aid to Ukraine. Of what purpose? To protect democratic order against the communist order. What cost? The inflation USA is very high already. The bank rates have been rising continuously for the last 1 year. The food stamps are the mainstay of the people at the lower level. The refugees are knocking at the gate and are illegal immigrants of USA. And USA is supplying arms, escalating the war, but at the same time escalating the profits. Now the US defense budget is a record budget, $858 billion. It's almost $1 trillion. And it's higher than the total GDP of Switzerland. Out of this $858 billion, a few billion are for the security assistance to Ukraine. So, the Ukraine war is a bonanza. The defense bill authorizes specific purchases from armed companies, and which are those companies: Lockheed Martin and GD, General Dynamics. And their systems have already been marked by their presence on the Ukrainian front line. Ukraine is fighting with the US arms. And the arms have been visible. In fact, the American HIMARS rocket launchers used by Ukrainians were of Lockheed Martin make. It was hardly surprising that the American defense manufacturing companies are having a roaring time, a great time. Lockheed Martin's share prices over the past year have gone up by 11%. When the price of the share goes up by 11%, you can be sure that the profits have increased minimum by 25 to 30%. Not only that, another manufacturer, Northrop Grumman, the share of Northman has gone up by 23%. And Aero Environment by 21%. This huge increase in 1 year is record-breaking. Naturally, the profits are going through the roof. And in these times of profit-making, can the profit-making companies forget their benefactors? No. Let's not forget that arms manufacturers have always liked wars. And they are loving this Ukraine-Russia conflict. Reason? This conflict has the potential to carry on for many more months unless the nuclear weapons are used. And the result, as I said, bonanza for the arms manufacturers and the payoff to the politicians who help them. Now, what to do in such a situation? Should the USA and the Europe, facing the economic issues that are faced by the people who have no interest in the war and who would like their lives to be easier by bringing the prices, should these inordinate profits made by the arms companies not be taxed heavily? Why cannot US Congress and or the President issue an order saying that these profits, which are born of the misery of the people, Ukrainian people are suffering, Russians are suffering, millions have become refugees, they have left their country. And the people in other countries which are supplying arms, they are suffering because the prices are going up. Interest rates have gone up. So should these companies not share the profits with the government so that some leverage can be there for the marginal class of people who are suffering more? And the best way would be that take an average of the last 5 years, before the Ukraine war started, it started in 22. So for 21, 18 to 21, 18, 19, 20, 21. These 4 years, you can take up even 17, 5 years, average profit should be taken. And whatever is above the average profit, these companies should be asked to pay 90% of that to the state exchequer. I know it sounds revolutionary, but it is required. Because once they do it, they are still making 10% more profit than the average profit made in the 5 years. But the huge money that will come to the government coffers can help stave off the national debt, reduce it, and also encourage and prompt the government to reduce some taxes, give some more facilities to the people, make their life a bit more comfortable. This is not punitive. Now, I would not say there should be punitive taxes. You are still allowing them a tax, but the tax is born of the misery of the people. So the misery of the people should assuage the misery of the people, rather than swell up the profits of the arm manufacturers. And that should be the routine. In any contingency, like in COVID, the vaccine manufacturers had a hay time. So the extra profit that they made that year, the average of the last 5-6 years should be taken up. And above that, give them some benefit. I'm not saying they should be deprived of 10%, 20%. Balance should be the profit which goes to the nation as a whole, not to the individual companies. And this would enable the common people to have a feeling that yes, maybe the war is necessary. It's a necessary evil which has been forced by some greed of some country, Russia in this case. No denying the fact. But the sacrifice made by the people who have no interest in that war would not be of such a magnitude to destroy their lives. As a matter of fact, if this thing happens, you can be sure of two things. A, politicians, since their payoffs would be reduced automatically, would always try to be more sincere in putting up the war rather than escalating it. It could easily have been done not by UN resolutions, but by involving other countries. You remember what happened in Korea. Korean War did not end because of the UNO. As a matter of fact, the Korean army, South Korean, supported by USA, was in fact being supported by UNO. UNO sent its forces. But the efforts of the Jawaharlal Nehru behind the scene were instrumental in a great way in bringing about a peace. Similarly, the role of the NAM, non-aligned movement, was so tremendous that the Vietnam War had to stop. The sort of the moral pressure, this time India, China, the whole of non-aligned movement, they were not involved. And the statement by Modi that this is not an era of war is okay. But if the moral force is generated globally rather than sanctions, it would have made negotiations easier. And then some pressure could have been brought on Ukraine to sit at the negotiation table rather than demand the return of Crimea. Because Crimea return may not be possible under any circumstance. So why make a demand which is not likely to be met? You always negotiate on the present thing. Of course, you could have discussed the return of Crimea during the negotiation, but making that a base for starting the negotiation was definitely not appropriate. But as I said, this war is a bonanza for the arm makers, and they must be enjoying the misery, the pain, the agony of the people, and the fear of the world over on this war. They must be saying, hey, long live Putin, and long live Ukrainian leader Zelensky and others, and long live the leaders of the Western Europe who are ensuring all profits, inordinate profits. Is it not blood money? It is. And that is where the pain increases beyond endurance. Thank you.